Alexander here from Bedford Chiropractic Clinic. I have the great pleasure of having Serwant and his beautiful wife Nirmal with me today. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love about what I do is the fact that I get to meet some extraordinary, amazing people. And Serwant's story is amazing. And I really wanted him to share this with you because there's a lot here to be learnt. And in particular for the Asian community, because regrettably, Asians, I have a propensity towards diabetes and heart problems. And Serwant was one of those so-called statistics who was diabetic or borderline diabetic, had high cholesterol, and was heading towards heart problems. So Serwant, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
What was it that you did? Because you took control yourself, right? And you made some massive improvements to yourself. So would you mind just describing to everybody what you did?
The main thing was changing your diet.
Okay.
Right, and so I stopped eating wheat, anything to do with wheat.
Okay.
Rice, wheat, flour, fried stuff. I cut all that out. Eat more vegetables, and chapatti. I use millet flour and bajra flour, which you can obtain from any Indian shop. And use no oil, only use ghee, and exercise, which I do about 6 kilometers to 7 kilometers every day. And so my weight's gone down by exercising, changing my diet, and my cholesterol's gone back to normal, my blood pressure's gone back to normal, and my sugar's almost normal. So I don't take no tablets. And I took tablets for nearly 16 years, and now for the last 3 years everything's back to normal now, and I'm 72 and I still do 7 days a week, roughly about 6 to 7 kilometers of fast walking.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so let's just hone on a few things, but before we do that, Nirmal, now you told me a really interesting statistic. You said that each chapatti has how much sugar?
2.5 spoons sugar, one chapatti.
Wow. Just say that again, please, because that's important. So one chapatti has?
One chapatti had 2.5 spoons sugar.
2.5 spoons of sugar. Because what people don't understand is that carbohydrate is a macro, is a macro food, right? A macro food product. And carbohydrate gets broken down in your body into glucose. Glucose is how the body uses carbohydrate. So when you have like a simple carbohydrate like chapatti, that then becomes glucose. And glucose is what creates insulin, and then an over sort of sensitivity, right, to glucose, where the insulin doesn't take it out of the blood, creates diabetes. So the less carbohydrate you have, the better. Now, so when you mentioned about wheat, now wheat is a problem, especially modern wheat. Modern wheat is a problem because nowadays the majority of our wheat products come from a dwarf wheat, not the old wheat that we used to have. So it's a dwarf wheat because it's hybridized, which means then that farmers can grow it much quicker, they get much more productivity out of it. But what it means for us is that this dwarf wheat has the propensity to become carbohydrate or glucose much quicker than the old wheat does. So the new dwarf wheat is actually not good for us because it becomes sugar much quicker. And the other thing that you mentioned, right, was about sort of how exercise is important, because one of the main things they found to reduce your glucose level was exercising. So walking, so after a meal, give yourselves sort of about 20 minutes or so just to digest the food, but then go for a walk, metabolize that glucose that you're producing from your meal into energy. So go for a walk, and that's really important. So using sort of other alternatives, as you mentioned, right, such as sort of, you mentioned them, which was, so instead of sort of using wheat, you use what else?
Well, we use besan, and to make a roti, you can put
so chickpea flour.
Chickpea flour. You can put broccoli in it. You can put onions in it. You can put, and you make it like an egg omelette.
Egg omelette.
Make it runny, and then you just put it in a frying pan, And there's no calories in there, there's no sugar in there.
Fantastic. You also mentioned about vegetable oil, how bad vegetable oil is.
Yes.
Now, vegetables aren't oily, right? So you don't use vegetable oil. Our ancestors used ghee, and ghee is clarified butter. And the beautiful thing about ghee is that you can heat it up to very high temperature without it becoming denatured. And denatured fat is hydrogenated fat is what is dangerous for our sort of arterioles in our bodies. So you don't want to use fat that becomes hydrogenated. So ghee is good for cooking, coconut oil and olive oil as well, but you don't want to overheat olive oil. But ghee you can, so ghee is really good. Millet flour was the other thing you mentioned. The beautiful thing about millet flour is that millet flour is actually gluten-free as well.
And sugar-free.
And sugar-free, obviously, well, it's a carbohydrate, so it will become sort of a sugar, glucose in your body, but it's a slow process. It's much slower than using wheat, for example. Serwant, 72, I can't believe it. You've lost 25 kilograms, 25 kilos, and you look great, both of you. Okay,
great,
so thank you so much for sharing that with us. Please take on board what Serwant has told you, and hopefully you've learned something, and share it with all your friends, share it with all your family members, because health is so important, so important. Without health, you have nothing. So thank you very much. Bedford Chiropractic Clinic, Serwant and Nirmal, thank you so much. I appreciate you. One of my great pleasures of being a chiropractor, people like these two. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Sandhu here from Bedford Chiropractic Clinic. Thank you so much for watching the video right to the end. I really hope you found it useful and interesting. And if you want more of them, I am going to be putting them out regularly from now on. So why don't you just subscribe down there, click on the subscribe button, click on the bell icon as well, and then you will get notified every time I release a new video. It is my absolute mission here to give as much chiropractic good information to you and also health information. So don't miss out, and give us a thumbs up if you like it.